Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 286 for March 7th, 2023. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On today's show, it was week 3 in the XFL. The beer snake is back, and say it ain't so. Is Tom Brady unretiring again? In this week's history lesson, we tell the history of the Indoor Football League. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
Yes, my job today is to keep refreshing Adam Schefter's Twitter account for breaking news because I have a feeling we're going to get some Daniel Jones news here. But man, we've had quite a few NFL stories this
Yeah,
week.
so many other players signing and
All the deals happening at the
franchise
combine.
tag,
I
yeah.
know. Oh, I heard something about there's like a restaurant or something now in
Yeah.
Indianapolis that all these deals are like going down at, and it's like I want a movie, I want a documentary about this restaurant and some of the deals going on. I want it.
I posted that article on our Twitter feed. The deals aren't really made there, but the birth of these deals is made at this restaurant where they get together and they talk, and then later on things probably happen. But it all starts with dinner at this restaurant.
How'd you like to be the bus boy or the bus girl going up and just like, can I clean up your burger mess there, Mr. Andy Reid? As he listens in on what the Chiefs are planning to do.
No, I'm going to
this season.
finish that.
That's exactly what Andy Reid sounds like too. Andy Reid on the podcast, everybody. How you doing, Andy?
Shut up.
Oh,
Way
to commit to a bit.
We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show, as well as other selected videos. We're also on Amazon Music, so you can simply ask Alexa to play the World of Football podcast. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. We're going to start things off with the XFL. It's week 3, and what a weekend of football for the XFL.
Yeah,
I
good
think
games.
they've finally, it was a full weekend of great games that were all within 6 points of each other. Like each game was a close game.
Yep.
To varying degrees. But we start with on Saturday, the only Saturday game, the Seattle Sea Dragons clinching their first win of the season by defeating my Vegas Vipers 30-26 in a back and forth game that was very entertaining, even though I was on the losing side. It's Seattle quarterback Ben DiNucci who completed 29 passes for 377 yards and 4 touchdowns, a stat line I never thought I'd see in a spring league game. Running back Morgan Ellison for the Sea Dragons ran 17 times for 103 yards, while Seattle Sea Dragons wide receiver Josh Gordon, former NFL player, caught 6 passes for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns, one of them being that game, taking the lead in the game there at the end of the game. Heck of a touchdown by him. Josh Gordon's looked great in these 3 weeks of the XFL season. His teammate, whose name escapes me right now, who was leading the league in receiving there for a couple of weeks, was looking mighty fine too still.
Well, maybe with a shorter season, only 10 games, it gives Josh Gordon less time to get in trouble.
Well,
maybe that's
come
why
on now. I think he's looked great. I'd be curious to see if a team gives him another shot this year, which is the point of this league.
Yeah.
But then on the Vegas side of the ball, quarterback Brett Hundley completed 13 passes for 224 yards and 2 touchdowns, replacing former starter Luis Perez.
Yeah.
They've been kind of going back and forth with their quarterbacks, trying to just find a spark. And I thought they looked great, other than letting the Sea Dragons get that last touchdown there with about a minute or so to go. But Seattle's got some weapons, and they've been fun to watch when they're slinging it around.
Yeah, Vegas has played well, but they just
haven't put it all together yet.
Haven't got a win yet.
No. All right, but then on Sunday, what a great game between the DC Defenders and the St. Louis Battlehawks. The status of the beer steak notwithstanding, which we'll talk about a bit later, I guess. The Defenders defeated the Battlehawks 34-28 for the highest scoring game in XFL history as of right now. The Defenders quarterback Jordan Tamau completed 11 passes for 196 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for another touchdown. while St. Louis quarterback A.J. McCarron completed 26 passes for 262 yards and 4 touchdowns, along with 2 interceptions in the loss.
I think that was the difference in the game was those
Yeah,
two
those 2 interceptions
interceptions.
were pretty big. And then Seattle wide receiver Hakeem Butler caught 9 passes for 105 yards and a touchdown. That dude was big. When they were finally throwing it to him, like, it's a big receiver.
Hmm.
But what an entertaining game this ended up being. Your Battlehawks ended up losing, but what a thrilling game that came down to the end. And it
Yeah.
got pretty chippy there.
Oh man, yeah.
There was some fighting breaking out there towards the end of that game. They even had to stop the game with 10 seconds left, and they just said, all right, we're not even letting them kneel the ball down
Yeah,
anymore. This is
with the
getting
three
out of
people
hand.
ejected from the game,
3 people
two
got
from one
ejected,
team,
yeah,
one from the other. Man, oh yeah.
with like 30 seconds left. What was the point of ejecting guys with 30 seconds left? But still, it got real bad. So now, when the Defenders and Battlehawks rematch at some point this season, that's going to be must-watch TV. I can't wait.
Well, yeah, that'll be in Seattle, St. Louis. So yeah, the crowd will be on
Oh man, and
Washington
that
that day.
crowd's already now getting a reputation for the beer snake, for the lemons,
Mm.
and now the empty cups.
No, I'm saying the Battlehawks fans
All Battlehawks
when they
fans.
replay this
Oh, that's
game.
true. It'll be in.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
they'll be behind their home team.
Gotcha.
So
Oh,
we'll
they
see.
will, and we'll talk about the
Yeah.
St. Louis Battlehawks home field in a little bit as well. More teases. Wow, we're so good at this. All right. Then on Sunday, the Arlington Renegades defeated the Orlando Guardians 10-9, a low-scoring affair, but a close game nonetheless. Arlington quarterback Kyle Slaughter completed 18 passes for 124 yards and a touchdown, while Orlando quarterback Paxton Lynch completed 19 passes for 219 yards with no touchdowns. So this game, Orlando did a lot of shuffling. They've been really, uh, let's see, I won't say they lacked inspiration, but they just haven't performed real well. And the coach made it no secret on the sideline talking to those reporters that he was going to make some changes. And whatever he did, I mean, you played a 10-9 ball game. You just came just short.
Yep.
So clearly they, were in it. So that's a step in the right direction, I think, despite them falling to 0-3. All right. And then finally, in a game, this was a great game. That I saw for a little bit. I didn't get to watch the whole game, but when I was watching, I was pleasantly surprised to see the San Antonio Brahmas hang in there with the Houston Roughnecks, who I thought were the best team going into week 3. But the Roughnecks got the best of the Brahmas 22-13. Houston quarterback Brandon Silvers completed 24 passes for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns, while San Antonio quarterback Jack Cohn completed just 8 passes for 64 yards and a touchdown. So, any thoughts on week 3 as a whole for the XFL?
Pretty entertaining games again.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all of every game, but from what I saw, it was pretty competitive, pretty even, a lot of back and forth play on both sides. So it was just a lot of fun to watch.
I think this is the week that the product finally kind of lived up to the hype, and these players. I think everybody's starting to get into a groove and a rhythm, and these teams are a lot closer than we think, despite some of the records for some of these teams. That any of these teams could go out and win, when they come out and play. So it's very exciting stuff. And if you're, Dwayne the Rock Johnson or Danny Garcia, you got to be really happy with the way these guys are playing. Other than the ending of that Battlehawks game, which I never saw the Rock address, but I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. That's something you don't want your spring league to do, even though it was kind of fun to see a fight break out.
Well, I wondered, how much they were going to follow the fights on the field. And for a while in that Battlehawks game, they did. They stuck with it, and they were showing. Like Fox or NBC, they don't show that a lot of times in NFL games. They shy away from that. The XFL, they're supposed to be all access. Why wouldn't you show all that? Show the good and the bad.
Yep.
It is a bad mark on the team and the league, but let's see it. Let's see what happens. We'll all decide who's right, who's wrong.
And I don't know how much they're paying the bleep button guy, because this guy has been sleeping at the button sometimes.
Yeah, you'll hear a really bad word, and then the sound goes out. So got to keep your finger on that trigger.
Oh man, it's seriously like somebody. He probably just scrolling through Twitter or Instagram, and it's like, oh crap, shoot, and then.
Yeah, that was funny. Several of those got away. I mean, when the sound goes, they press the button because somebody's yelling or swearing or something.
But I mean, at the same time, we know with live sports that stuff's going to happen.
Yep.
I get that they want it to be watchable for families or whatever, but
sure,
come on, like if you're going to make it all access, why restrict it? Like, it's fine.
Even the coaches, you're getting the coaches swearing at guys.
Yeah.
What the you doing out there?
And if you're going to give me all access, that's the stuff I want. I want to hear. The F you doing out there? Like, I want to hear the coach berating a player sometimes. Like, it's just, I know it's just, if you're going to be different from the NFL, I guess go that route. With the NFL, sometimes you got to wait for the NFL films footage to kind of get combed through before you can see some of that stuff. But hey, with the XFL, it's live, and I think we could do the bleep button better than whoever's
Yeah,
doing it
they
right now.
messed up several times over the weekend. I don't know if it's the same guy for every game, but
No.
yes, sometimes they were right on it, and other times they were definitely not.
All right, and quickly previewing next week's slate of Week 4 games for the XFL. On Saturday, we'll have the Roughnecks traveling to the Guardians. The Brahmas will travel to the Sea Dragons on Saturday. And then on Sunday, another doubleheader where the Renegades will travel to St. Louis for their first home game of the season, which we'll talk again more in a little bit. And then the Vegas Vipers at 0-3 will travel to DC to play the Defenders at 3-0. So between the Roughnecks at 3-0 playing the Guardians at 0-3 and the Vipers at 0-3 playing the Defenders at 3-0, who do we see? What do you think will happen first? Is somebody get their first win or get their first loss?
Well, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I can't tell you what's going
I
to happen.
think I think people are just gonna get. I think they're gonna be undefeated still. I
Yeah,
think the Vipers and Guardians are probably not gonna beat those
you're
two teams. Those
probably
are two of the
right.
best teams playing two of the worst teams record wise. But just the Defenders might be the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. All right, let's move on to Champions Indoor Football. It was week 1 in that indoor league, and all 3 games this week were on Saturday. The Sioux City Bandits defeated the Rapid City Marshals 75-34. The Salina Liberty defeated the Topeka Tropics 75-45, and the Gillette Mustangs over the Southwest Kansas Storm 30-12. Now there were a couple other games, but they were games against non-conference opponents. I don't know where they found these
That's
other teams.
weird. Yeah, they play these teams that aren't even in their league.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah. So I didn't want to mention those, but next week they should have a full schedule with all 8 teams playing each other. So uh, we'll we'll get the full scores next week. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard. I want to start off the next section with a correction. I made a mistake last week in the show.
you say that again? You made a mistake?
I did. The Arena Football League showcase game that I said was played on that date, 1987, when we broadcast last week on the 28th of February, it was not that day. It was the day before. It was February 27th, 1987. I was incorrect stating that that was the anniversary of that game. So I
Again,
was a day
emphasis
late,
on the
a
you
dollar
were
short.
incorrect part.
Yes, I know. It's always a good day when you start out things with a correction.
Oh, I
Where you
love
have
it.
to admit that you were wrong
Oh,
about
I
something the
love
week
hearing you
before.
admit that you were wrong.
I know you do. All right, NFL news. Wow, we got a lot of moves and things going on. One thing, I didn't watch a whole lot of the scouting combine this year.
The Underwear Olympics, I
Yeah.
did not either.
But the big thing to me that came out of this was defensive end Nolan Smith from the University of Georgia ran the second fastest 40-yard dash for a defensive lineman since 2005. He turned in a time of 4.39 seconds.
Impressive speed.
That is, and I think I watched that run, and man, that's a big guy moving down the
See,
field.
I heard a lot of players have been coming out and criticizing the combine for being like none of these drills amount to anything in the NFL. Yeah, this is the make or break for a lot of dudes, which
Right,
is
yeah.
very weird. Which I've been starting to kind of lean on. But my favorite part, the tradition of the combine that is my favorite, is when Rich Eisen
Oh,
goes down and runs the 40.
thought you were going to say the Wonderlic test.
No, but only because I don't know what that is.
We were going to take the
I'm just
Wonderlic
gonna-
test a few years
we
ago.
still should.
We never did.
That'd be a
kinda
great
silly.
video to do. Anyway, my favorite thing is Rich Eisen doing the run. He does it every year, and it's great. But they started doing this thing where they compare his run to some of the players and overlapping those videos, and they're gold. They are pure gold watching him run, and then you just see they'll even give him like a 5 or 10 yard head start, and you'll just see a player zip on past his. Oh, it's so good. And then I saw a series of these videos. I'm sure you can find it either on YouTube or social media somewhere. But then they started showing some of the NFL Network crew members getting in on the fun, doing the run, and he lost to every single person. Tied with one dude who I believe was a cameraman wearing a cape. And then he beat one guy who tripped and fell in the middle of his run. That's the only guy he beat, was a guy who literally tripped and fell in the middle of their run.
Who was the lady reporter for the Lions a few years ago? Tori
Petrie?
Petrie. She ran it one year
Did
in
she?
high heels, and she did fantastic. I
Dang.
don't know what her time was, but man, she was streaking down that field in high heels, and then finally,
With clothes on. Let's just okay. You say streaking. Okay,
well,
we gotta be careful how you phrase this, Randy. Come on, we're a family
she did
show.
a great job of running down the field in high heels and then diving into it like a big sandbag or something at the end.
Maybe
But
I don't
yeah,
remember that.
oh, I do,
I have to look that
I
up.
do. Yeah,
Because like I always thought it was weird. Like you've seen in like Jurassic World, they're running like a lady running away from a dinosaur in heels. You're like, that can't
yeah.
happen. And then you watch somebody run the 40-yard dash. Okay,
On
is it
turf
believable?
or whatever it was they were
On
running
turf.
on. But yeah, she did a great job. Let's see some other news. We've
Wait, are
got.
you saying that you would volunteer to do the 40-yard dash in heels? Because I would watch that content, Randy.
I don't know if I could do it in shoes. You'd have to time me with a calendar. Let's see. Seattle quarterback Geno Smith is signing a 3-year, $105 million contract to remain with the team. What do you think about that? I know you were a big Geno Smith fan.
I thought he was a great story this year. He played great. I think he deserved this contract.
Mm.
I think it's also the right amount of time because Geno's been in the league for a while. I'm not sure. I guess I could look it up real quick. He's been in the league for a few years, and so I was like, how much is a team willing to commit to a guy who's been in the league for a while? And I'm trying to talk and look up information at the same time.
Well, the deal isn't
I mean, he's
final.
32 years old, so 32 years old. Um, I'm trying to still find when he was drafted, but continue.
Last I knew, this was still a pending deal. I mean, this is what they've offered him. I think he's agreed to it, but the contract hasn't officially been signed yet, at least as of today that we're doing this podcast. But that's I think that's a pretty decent contract. It's not it's not fully guaranteed. I think I read that 52 million of that is going to be paid over the first year of the 3-year contract. So he's going to be getting less than that in the last 2 years.
Okay,
But
so
for
so
that 3
Geno
years.
was drafted by the Jets in 2013. So he's been in the league for 10 years. So a guy that's 32 years old, you're going to sign him to a 3-year contract. So that kind of feels right. He had a great season. He could probably produce for a couple more years, and I'm sure that, like you said, sounds like they front loaded that contract,
Right.
so they could probably back out if he doesn't have a great year this year or next year. So I think it's a smart move for now, and they're clearly not looking at draft. Well, they could be looking at drafting a quarterback still potentially, but I think Geno deserved that contract.
Well, I think
guess it
this is
comes down
good for
to
the team and for him.
I think so too.
It's a win-win for both.
I think it is a win-win. They're not paying him a whole lot. They're not breaking the bank completely for a guy that had one great year, but rewarding him for having that good year. So
Okay. Let's see what else we up to here. Quarterback David Carr. Looks like he's going to be signing with the New Orleans Saints.
yeah,
That was the last thing I saw. Is that it looks pretty certain. I didn't see any details on any kind of contract, how long or whatever, how much.
I could have swore I saw some contract details. I'm not sure how official that can be just yet.
But I mean, that's what everybody's been speculating. He was the big free agent so far that everybody was looking at. Where's David Carr going to land? And it looks like the landing place for him is going to be New Orleans.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a done deal. Obviously, nothing can be made official. I think until what is it, the 15th of
Yeah, the
so
15th
next
is
week.
the
So
new
we got
one.
a week and a day when all this free agency stuff hits, starts hitting.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's gonna be a Saint. I could have swore I found the contract detail somewhere, but having trouble finding it right now. But
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a good fit. I think New Orleans and Derek Carr are going to be a scary team. I think that automatically makes them the contender in the South, in the NFC South rather, to take that division.
We'll see.
So
the next story is the Packers have given Aaron Rodgers permission to talk to the Jets.
yep, it wasn't too long ago. It sounds like the the Jets were flying out on a jet to California to go speak with Aaron Rodgers. Team officials, this was like an hour ago, team officials were scheduled to meet with him in person. So we'll see if they can come to some sort of agreement with Rodgers to, I'll probably send some draft picks or maybe another couple players over to Green Bay in exchange for Rodgers. So we'll see how much do you think the Jets are going to have to give up? Do you think this deal actually goes down? If they're
I don't
flying
know.
out there right now,
I just hope it all goes away soon because I don't want to talk
well,
about it.
supposedly like they liked Derek Carr and they told Derek Carr, the Jets, that we like you, but we're waiting to see what happens with Aaron Rodgers first. He's our number one choice. I think they're missing out on a guy. Like I think Derek Carr is the better bet right now. I mean, Rodgers, is he good? Sure, but how much has he got left in the tank? And what if he stops caring? Like that's the other side. I think Derek Carr's at least gonna go through a crappy season with you.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr will put in the time that it takes to get familiar with his teammates and the playbook and the coaching staff.
Yeah,
I
Derek
don't
Carr
know if
seems like a genuinely cool dude. I
yeah,
like Derek
I
Carr.
don't know if Rodgers is gonna be that good at getting into a new team where he's the new guy, even though he's gonna feel like he's the top dog around there. He's gonna need to put in the work if they plan to have any kind of successful season.
Yeah, and depending on what they have to give up, could that be ruining the Jets? I think the Jets have started building something
Yeah, they're a
decent
good
over
team
there.
except for quarterback.
Yeah, they struggled at quarterback, so you get Rodgers, cool, but what are you missing out if you have to trade draft picks? Are you not going to be able to fill a couple holes that probably would have made you a better team all around? We'll have to wait and see. We'll see
Yeah,
how that breaks before the end of the show.
okay. Another one, Lamar Jackson is going to receive the franchise tag by the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, they call it the non-exclusive franchise tag, which I guess it means that uh, Lamar will still be like I think the way they phrase it is it'll be a $32.41 million non-exclusive franchise tag, according to Adam Schefter. Lamar is now allowed to negotiate with other teams, but the Ravens have the right to match any offer sheet that he signs, or they can get two first round picks in return for him.
Hmm.
So sounds almost like a win-win for the Ravens.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we lost Lamar, but we got two first round picks out of it.
They've had so much time to work out a deal. I mean, this has been going on
There's
for a
got to
couple
be
of years
something.
now.
There's got to be something that Lamar wants that they just
I
won't
think
give
he
him.
wanted that fully guaranteed contract, which nobody seems to want to get behind anymore after what happened with what's his face in Cleveland,
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Yeah, nobody. That was a bad deal, so everybody's scared to death of a fully guaranteed contract anymore. And I wonder if the owners at an upcoming team meeting will vote to not have any fully guaranteed contracts to anybody.
I don't know. You'd have to talk to your players union about that. I'm
Hmm.
sure that's something they negotiated.
Well, I don't
And
know.
the Ravens general manager came out with a statement saying that they're trying everything they can do to keep
Hmm.
Lamar as part of their organization. So we'll see what happens. Man, if we see Lamar in a different uniform, what a crazy offseason this is going to be.
Yeah, yeah, it could be a whole lot of changes. And one of the changes was that Tom Brady was now retired. Well, just in the last 24 hours, there are rumors that he's coming back out of retirement again, this time to sign with the Miami Dolphins. Will this nightmare ever end? Can't this guy just go away?
Well, according to Tom Brady himself, via his Instagram or Twitter, I really don't care which one it is, but he said, I can't come out of retirement. I just adopted a 2-month-old kitten from my daughter. That's a lot of stuff on my plate. So,
Yeah,
what a know nothing tweet that couldn't mean anything.
yeah.
Like,
And tomorrow he'll be
uh,
signed to the Dolphins.
I, I'll be honest with you. I'll be shocked if this actually happens.
Yeah.
I hope it's just somebody kind of
I know, but
having
it was
fun.
reported by some reputable
I
folks
don't know.
there.
Stephen A. Smith came out and said something. I don't know where some of these
That
people
was
get their
somebody
source.
else. Like I don't
Could
know.
have been, but I heard Stephen A. Smith said something. It could be. Who cares? I don't care. If he actually comes back, then he'll come back, and then we'll know it. But until it happens, I don't believe it right now. Do I think he could pull a Brett Favre and unretire a second time? Probably, but I just don't know. I just think he's done. I think he's done.
Okay, let's move on to some XFL news. The beer snake is back in DC, but it has a code of conduct this time around. And you have the code of conduct in front of you. You want to read parts of that and see what has to happen in order for the beer snake to continue to be a thing in the end zone there
Why,
in
yes,
DC?
yes. Let me read you the official uh, Beer Snake Code of Conduct as posted by the DC Defenders. Um, Now, stick with me, everybody. Here we go. For the safety of all fans, the beer snake will be permitted in sections 138 and 137, contingent on fans following the game day code of conduct. Number one, no cups may be thrown from within the section from outside the section to join the beer snake or inside the section. Number two, all cups must be passed to the location of the beer snake to be added, or you may provide your cups to a defender's representative who will bring the cups to the beer snake as if it's its own living identity. You know,
Right.
Number three, only empty cups can be added to the beer snake. Number four, any throwing of cups or other projectile objects within the seated area or onto the field of play are grounds for ejection. And during that game, we saw a lot of
Yeah,
cups.
at the end,
We saw so many cups
yeah, they were
and
good. Yeah.
lemons again. And then number 5, the cups from the beer snake must be properly disposed of in a stadium receptacle at the conclusion of the game.
That's going to be a pretty big receptacle.
Please drink responsibly. Well, it was great because during this game, there were so many cups that they started a second
Yeah, they
beer
started a
snake.
second
And
one.
then at some point, I wasn't sure if they actually pulled it off, but they said they were trying to merge the two beer snakes into one giant beer snake. So a lot was happening in the stands. It was very entertaining. That whole game was entertaining in the
Yeah.
stands and on the field.
And it came down to, what was it, a fourth down play or something?
I think you're gonna say it came down to a few cups to complete the beer
No,
snake.
no. What I'm saying is that when the game finally ended with 30 seconds or something, when they knew that they had the ball back
Yeah.
and the other team didn't have any timeouts, that everybody in the stands knew that the game was over and that they had won the game. They started tearing apart the beer snake, and a lot of those cups got thrown onto the field or in the end zone. And
Yeah.
so I thought, well, I wonder if anybody's going to get ejected as they're walking out of the stadium. And I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, that's the beer snake protocol, everybody.
Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah, another XFL. In other XFL news, the ball spotter got to hold the ball for the Vegas kicker during their game. It was really windy there.
What a thing I've never seen in professional
Well,
football ever.
because all the other players are up on the line of scrimmage, so there was nobody back there to hold the ball. So the ball spotter, the guy with the red hat who runs in and places the ball ready for play, he got to hold the ball for the Vegas kicker, and his name was Eddie Garcia, and he was getting all kinds of love on social media.
The broadcasters loved him.
I posted a video on at least on our Twitter page that showed him doing his thing and then running off the field as soon as the ball was kicked.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was getting a lot of love. So I thought that was kind of
It
cool.
it was a very unique situation because I
Yep.
think in real time we were watching the game saying, well, if all guys have to be out, like, do they remove a guy and have them hold it? And then all of a sudden we see the ball guy just
Yep.
holding the ball for the kickers. Like,
Yep.
okay, I guess this is how this works.
They must have thought about that because they knew that you couldn't have a player hold the ball. So in those conditions, who would do that? So they must have had this all worked out before. But I've just never seen that before in a
We'll see
game.
the documentary that says, oh, we didn't think about that at all.
Yeah. And lastly, in XFL news, the Battlehawks are opening a 300 level seating at their home stadium for their home opener this weekend due to a demand for tickets.
All right, so 30,000 plus
And we're
seems like
looking
a lock.
at probably 30,000 people being at this game, maybe more. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, what is the capacity for the dome in St. Louis? Do you know at the top of your head?
Yeah, I don't know that.
All
off
right,
the
well,
top
to
of my
Google
head.
then.
But yeah, I just you all these stadiums, a lot of the bigger stadiums you've seen that only the lower sections have people sitting in them. All the upper sections are completely vacant. But evidently they've sold out the lower bowl, and so they want more fans in there, so they're opening up the upper sections for
All
that.
right, take a guess what their full seating capacity is for the dome at America Center in
Let's
St.
see.
Louis,
They used to
Missouri.
have the Rams there. I'm going to say 60,000.
66,965. So I think 30,000 is a lock.
Yeah.
The question
Yeah,
is,
that's half the stadium.
do you think they crack 40?
I don't know. I
That
don't
would
know.
that would
If they were undefeated, I would say more people
still
would
at 2-1.
I know.
Their first home game, they're
I know.
2-1, first home game.
Yep.
I think the people in St. Louis loved the Battlehawks
They
the
drew
last time.
very well the last time around, and I think they
I
will
think
draw really well this
I think
time.
they're hungry for professional football there. I think this is going to be insane.
I think at the end of the season they will lead the league in a fan attendance.
Oh, I think that's no question. But I think for this game, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to crack 40. I think they will crack 40,000 people there.
We'll see.
Especially they're opening up that extra seating, unless
Yeah.
they don't allow more than 40, which I'm not sure. But they're opening up another section.
I
I mean,
think they'll sell as many tickets as they can.
God, I want them to crack 40. I think that'd be great. That'd be like double the attendance of any other XFL game. So, all of the best XFL games so far.
All right, we're going to move on to some National Arena League news. Antonio Brown is now a part owner of the NAL's Albany Empire franchise. His father, touchdown Eddie Brown, will serve as the team's vice president of football operations. Eddie Brown played 10 seasons in the Arena Football League with the Albany Firebirds from 94 to 2000, and when the team moved to Indiana and became the Indiana Firebirds, he remained there for another 3 years from 2001 to 2003. He won an Arena Bowl with Albany in 1999 and was elected to the AFL Hall of Fame in 2011. So this this kind of goes into what we've been talking about when we talk about the return of the Arena Football League, and I think the Albany Empire are going to be a part of it. So the National Arena League is going to be using the rebound nets this year, and I just think it's an easy way to transition them back into the Arena Football League. Of course, they can't make that announcement until after the season is over with. You don't want to say, "Oh, we're leaving this league after this year," until the season's over with. Maybe they'll win another title. Who knows? But yeah, it just seems like all the pieces are falling into place with Antonio Brown and Eddie Brown being part of the group there in Albany and using the rebound nets. That it's lining up perfectly for them to join the rebirth of the Arena Football League in
Yeah,
2024.
when you said that, I was like, that makes perfect sense. But I
Yep.
hope they keep Antonio Brown as far away from the operations here as possible.
Well, he's just a part owner.
I don't care. He's hasn't not much he's touched lately has worked out.
Yeah.
So
And Eddie Brown, he was a head coach in the AF2 with the
yeah,
Fort Wayne Fusion for a season, and so yeah, he's been around the AFL for a long time. So
yeah.
he's the perfect person to get the Arena Football League back up and running and say this is the way we do things
Mm.
in the Arena Football League. So yeah, I think it's positive news coming out of Albany.
Yeah, but we'll see. I hope your plan or what you think is going to happen follows
Yeah,
through.
let's see. Let's
We
see.
do have some breaking news as we kind of figured. The Giants have reached an agreement with Daniel Jones, their starting quarterback, on a long-term deal. No specifics just yet, other than that, it sounds like it is a 4-year deal that they have just
Hmm.
put together. So he avoids getting franchise tagged. That now puts the spotlight, apparently, according to Adam Schefter, on Saquon Barkley and the prospects of him getting franchise tagged by the
Hmm.
Giants.
Hmm.
So interesting
Okay.
stuff. And yep, as of right now, that's our breaking news.
Okay. All right, we do have a couple of birthdays to talk about today, a couple of teammates, and a couple of Hall of Famers. The first one is running back Franco Harris. Born on this date in 1950, he passed away recently on December 22nd at the age of 72. Played his college football at Penn State and was selected with the 13th overall pick in the 1972 NFL Draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played 13 NFL seasons. He was with the Steelers from 72 to 83 and finished his playing career with the Seattle Seahawks in 1984. I had forgotten that he went to the Seattle for one season. He won 4 Super Bowls with the Steelers in the 1970s, and he is most famous for the Immaculate Reception. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1990. And then the other birthday today is his teammate, wide receiver Lynn Swann, turns 71 years old today. He played his college football at USC and was selected with the 21st pick in the 1974 NFL Draft by the Steelers. He played his entire 9-year career with the Steelers from 1974 to 1982. He also won 4 Super Bowls and was the MVP of Super Bowl X. Uh, Swan was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2001, and he also appeared in the movie The Water Boy, among others.
Yeah.
I loved
Which
him
we
in The
just
Water
talked
Boy.
about in the video we did,
Yeah.
our top 10 football
Yep.
movies.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, the Water Boy gets mentioned a couple times.
Yeah, that was a great scene. I mean, he did several scenes, but the best one was when he was on the sideline and Bobby Boucher's girlfriend was acting as the water consultant or hydration
Yeah.
specialist at the time, and she gave this exact score how it was going to end, and he's like, yeah, right, and she turned out to be right.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, come on.
Who hasn't seen that movie? If you're a football fan, you had to have seen The Waterboy by now. Come on, unless you're 12 years old, maybe not. Okay, we're going to move on to some obituaries. And this is where we take a moment to honor those who've made the world of football a better place. And the first obituary today is that of Jerry Richardson, the former owner of the Carolina Panthers. He has passed away at the age of 86. Richardson played wide receiver in college at FCS Wofford College in South Carolina and was named an Associated Press Little All American in 1957 and 1958. In 1983, he was named to Wofford's all-time football team. Richardson was selected in the 13th round of the 1958 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Colts. He played 2 seasons with Baltimore in 1959 and 1960 and was named the Colts Rookie of the Year in 1959. He also won an NFL title with the Colts in 1959 and caught a touchdown pass in the championship game from Johnny Unitas. See, I didn't know any of this about him until I read this today. Richardson was the majority owner of the Panthers from its inaugural season in 1995 through 2017. That's when he was forced to sell the team on December 17th, 2017, after he was accused of inappropriate racial and sexually suggestive language by a number of team employees. So,
Yeesh.
a sad ending to a pretty storied career as a player and ownership.
Yeah.
Sad ending, but yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know he played college football. Didn't know he played in the NFL. Didn't know he was a draft pick.
Didn't know we caught a pass by Johnny
NFL
Unitas.
championship. Yeah, I did not know all that. So that was interesting.
All right, and our second and final obituary this week is that of Bob Perriman, a running back in the NFL for 6 seasons, has passed away at the age of 58. Perriman played college football at Michigan and was selected in the third round of the 1987 NFL Draft by the New England Patriots. He played 4 seasons with the Patriots from 1987 to 1990 and finished his playing career with the Denver Broncos in 1991 and 1992.
Okay, we're up to this week's history lesson. Unless you got any other breaking news.
Other than, I guess, Daniel Jones's contract is worth about $160 million over the course of the 4 years, or however that works out. 4-year, $160 million. So, I got paid. And as my buddy just sent me a text about it, wow, he's worth that money? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Yeah, so I guess it's 4 years, 160 million, with 35 million more available in incentives.
Ooh, wow.
So, and then Saquon Barkley gets the franchise tag is probably what's going to
Wow.
happen. So, darn, I was really hoping the Lions would try to make a move for Saquon, to be honest.
Okay, well, let's get into this week's history lesson. And this week, we're going to talk about the history of the Indoor Football League. 12 years after the Arena Football League debuted in 1987, the Indoor Football League made its debut. Now, they couldn't use the rebound nets that were patented by the Arena Football League, so instead, they used U-shaped goalposts that were suspended from the ceiling of the arena. The first IFL championship game was played in 1999 and saw the Green Bay Bombers win the league title. The next year, in 2000, the Peoria Pirates won the title. And after only 2 seasons, the IFL folded. Then, in 2008, 2 competing indoor leagues, United Indoor Football and the Intense Football League, merged and became a new version of the Indoor Football League. The IFL competed with 19 teams in that inaugural season of 2009, and in the end, the Billings Outlaws won the title and earned the first United Bowl championship. Other teams that played during the 2009 season were the Alaska Wild, Corpus Christi Hammerheads, San Angelo Stampede Express, and 2 teams from right here in Michigan, the Muskegon Thunder and the Saginaw Sting. Unlike many of its competitors, the Indoor Football League has found a way over the years to thrive and survive. From a high of 25 teams to a low of 6, nothing had stopped the IFL until 2020 when COVID canceled their season. But they came back the following year, and now in 2023 they're set to start their 15th season with a total of 14 teams. Many IFL teams have come and gone over the years. Some of my personal favorites have been the Bloomington Extreme, the Chicago Slaughter, the Fairbanks Grizzlies, the Reading Express, Nebraska Danger, Bemidji Axemen, and the Salt Lake City Screaming Eagles. The IFL has also featured a number of former Arena Football League teams, including the Arizona Rattlers, Iowa Barnstormers, Quad City Steamwheelers, and Green Bay Blizzard. One of the greatest teams in the history of the Indoor Football League has been the Sioux Falls Storm. From 2010 to 2019, they went to 10 consecutive championship games, and they won 7 of them, including 6 straight from 2011 to 2016. Along the way, that also included 2 undefeated seasons in 2012 and 2015. The 2022 IFL National Championship game featured the Northern Arizona Wranglers defeating the Quad City Steamwheelers by the score of 47 to 45. In 2023, a new team makes its debut in the IFL, the Tulsa Oilers. So congratulations, Indoor Football League, on making it to 15 seasons, something that a lot of other leagues have never done.
What a perfect history lesson to do right when the league is about to start up next week. Very excited about that. I'm also excited to let everybody know, hey, heads up, this the video or the history lesson that Randy just did will be a video, and we're gonna experiment for a few weeks here. Randy's very uncomfortable with being on camera, so we recorded a video version of this history lesson,
Yep.
and we're thinking about posting the video version of the history lesson roughly 24 hours. We're going to give it a day after the podcast is posted before we post the video version of his history lesson. So be on the lookout for his Indoor Football League history lesson video on Wednesday. So tomorrow, the 8th.
Yeah, it's not just me talking. It's there's some graphics and some videos that goes along with it. So
Yeah,
I think it came up pretty good. You did a good job,
we're
of
just
course.
changing things up, trying to
Yep.
spice it up a little bit so people aren't staring at a picture of Amos Alonzo Stagg for 45 seconds.
No, it came out better than I expected. I was very reluctant to do a video version of this history lesson or any history lesson, but it came out better than I thought. So
Yeah,
unfortunately, we're gonna do a couple more of these.
Yeah,
to see
and
how it
so
goes.
begins the work on next week's video history
Yeah,
lesson.
luckily I got that written already, and so we can record that.
We have
in the
a
next
week
one,
to
so-
produce the next
Yep.
one. So
Yep. And speaking of the Indoor Football League, they are beginning that 15th season starting on a Friday, March 17th. That's their 15th season. And we're talking upcoming events here. Sunday, April 16th, the USFL regular season begins. The NFL draft in Kansas City is taking place April 27th through the 29th. May 22nd is the CFL preseason beginning. The next day, May 23rd, the XFL championship game will be played in San Antonio. Thursday, June 8th, the CFL regular season begins, and Thursday, August 3rd, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton featuring the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. What a jam-packed summer we've got
man,
coming
oh
up.
man,
Football
up the wazoo. Let me tell you, from Kazoo, we're loving everything they do.
Jeez.
I did all that for you.
Oh my God! Do I have to put this down for something?
I don't know. I
for
hope not.
Our annual.
That's up to you, but I
Our
was
sixth anniversary show coming up in August.
oh my God, 6 years. Oh geez,
Yeah.
we're allowed to start. Well, we probably would have already been able to start kindergarten.
I've got several tracks already, but we may have to add that
Oh
one too.
God, please don't.
All right, well, that's everything for this week on our show. Anything that you want to add before we close the show out?
Nope. Like I said, right now we got the breaking news of the Giants and Daniel Jones.
I'll bet there'll be more as soon as
There
we
might
stop
be
recording.
more, but I don't know if all the teams have that sort of deadline where it was like 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today that they had some sort of deadline to get that deal done with Daniel Jones. So
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was a self-imposed deadline.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's depends on certain players' contracts. I have no idea, but everybody just subscribe to Adam Schefter's Twitter and get those alerts because those are usually a sure bet. You know, when everything hits the fan.
Okay, well, that's all for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can also like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow us on Twitter. The address there is at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and you can find the full audio versions of the podcast on YouTube as well. You can also search that YouTube search bar for The World of Football Kalamazoo. Use the handle youtube.com/@theworldoffootball where you're going to find a lot of great videos. We're sitting at 244 subscribers right now. Tell all your friends about us. We're going to keep trying to grow this channel out. So the next video you guys will see will be tomorrow after this podcast is posted. Randy's history lesson on the Indoor Football League, which we're very proud of and excited to start the next history lesson for next week. We are also available on Amazon Music. You can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. Believe us, it works. Feel free to rate, subscribe, review. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment, a like, wherever platform you're using. Helps us out greatly. Let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation. And as you guys might be well aware, we try to respond to every comment we get in those comment sections.
We have been getting a lot of comments on YouTube for various videos.
We try to respond to everybody. There's been a couple that's just like, yep, you said it great. I'm just going to give you a big thumbs up and a heart, and we're going to move on. But
if nothing else, we've read your
we
your
read
comments.
every comment.
We give you a thumbs up, so you know we actually read what you said.
We try to read every comment, and hey, we don't always agree with everybody, but you know what? That's what makes football great. We
Yep.
can agree and disagree, and we all love the same game.
Yep. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than us two guys.
And we'll tell you straight to your face in the comments section. You better believe that.
Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job, I'm Randy Snow.
I don't think we could have done a better job than we did this week.
Maybe. We'll see you all next week.